What is going on, guys? Jason Burke here, Styles Clash for life, coming at you on YouTube with one more episode of The Drive-In. This is my third consecutive review that I'm filming for my newer film review series here called The Drive-In, where I go back and I watch some pretty recent films and I give you guys my thoughts on them. Again, I apologize for the dry mouth and the heat. It is very hot here in Pittsburgh tonight. My house in particular is hot. So I'm going to be a little sweaty and a little rambly here, but I wanted to review a film that really is getting a lot of praise recently. It is 2018's Mom and Dad. This came out in a festival at the end of 2017 and was released here in the US officially in early 2018. I went back and just watched this. I think it's on Amazon Prime now or one of those live streaming services. So this one has been ballyhooed recently as being one of the better 2018 entrances because there's not a ton of good horror right now in 2018, which is surprising because the last 3 years have been very, very good for horror. So to see this year kind of starting off at a limp pace and be very slow is kind of weird. But Mom and Dad from 2018, directed by Brian Taylor, who also in the past directed Crank and 2011's Ghost Rider film. The stars of this film were Nicolas Cage and Salma Hayek and Ann Winters, I believe, if my handwriting is correct. And the premise of this film was really creative. Some of the stuff that I've talked about in my last couple entries were kind of old tropes that have kind of been done 1,000 times before in different ways. This was a really innovative trope. Without giving too much away, the idea behind this film, Mom and Dad, was that there's some kind of plague. There's a weird outbreak going around, but instead of turning its entire town into zombies, there's some psychedelic something is going on in this town where all the parents have a desire to kill their children. Nobody else's kids, but they want to kill their own. There's something in the TV or something in the town or something is being consumed or fed into the minds of the parents of this town that makes them want to kill their own children and go crazy all of a sudden. And one of the things that I liked about this, besides being really unique and innovative, it kind of came across like a modern-day Night of the Living Dead, but for parents. The thread of comedy in this thing is a very black comedy. It's super dark. I like the humor in this a lot. Nicolas Cage stands out. He's kind of Jim Carrey-ish. If you watch a lot of Jim Carrey in like the early to mid-90s, doing The Mask and stuff, he's very like, over the top and crazy, but it's not cheesy. It's more just kind of fun and funny and brings a lot of energy to the character. I love what Nicolas Cage does here. He's just over the top and non-repentant and crazy. Salma Hayek is kind of the more reserved kind of yoga mom, kind of the modernized mom who I guess the parents feel like they have no connection to their kids and they're kind of thinking like, how did we get here? How did we age so fast? How do we become these parents that aren't making any money and are struggling and have bad relationships with our kids? So the doldrums of parenthood and kind of the themes of how did we get here are played up through this movie, and it adds a nice dramatic and kind of realistic tone to this film, along with the comedy and the over-the-top jokes and some of the back and forth with Salma Hayek and Nicolas Cage. So the black comedy's good, the pacing is pretty good, and those threads of drama are in there as well. You have Carly was the main character, played by Ann Winters, who also, I don't want her to be overshadowed here. She was very good as well. I really enjoyed her. This starts off like any other regular movie with parents and kids not connecting. The kids are smartasses. The parents are sarcastic back to them. And you have this tension early on with the youngest son. I didn't write him down, but he was good as well. The youngest son and the dad. The dad kind of comes across like aggressive. He's that passive-aggressive where 1 second he's calm, and then he's stoic, and he's kind of calm before the storm, and then he's screaming. So Nicolas Cage builds tension the entire time in this film. Carly's off at school with her friends. They're sneaking drugs in school. They're partying. They're regular teenage girls. Very modern, lots of text screens and stuff in this. This is very modern. I like this. But as we go along, we kind of see this plague thing break out. There's a really tense scene with a baby. I'm not going to spoil it, but it's very tense. Sometimes it can even go a little too far. I complained about the last two films that I reviewed not going far enough. This one sometimes can be a little bit too much. There's a scene with a baby that kind of made me wince a little bit. That was a little weird. And the scene with there's a pool table scene as well with Nicolas Cage. It's kind of like, oh my goodness, we're taking this a little bit too far. So sometimes this could be reeled back just a little bit. But all in all, I did like this film. The biggest thing that killed me with this was off on a really good pace. And I was about to say how incredibly unique and intricate some of the things in this movie are. The ending of this movie is so bad. You guys know the ending can make or break a film. If you're going to spend an hour and a half to 2 hours and beyond sometimes watching a movie, it's so important to have a good ending, something satisfying to give you either a hook for the next film, or the good guys at least get away and start a new life, or someone learns a lesson, or there's going to be a sequel, or the bad guys win and it's creepy. There's got to be a good hook for the ending of a movie. If you're going to invest yourself for an hour and a half or 2 hours and the ending sucks, it really kills the movie, and that's what happened here for me. I was really on board for this for, like, I think this was like 100, what was it, like 82 minutes or something like that. For like 77 out of the 82 minutes, or even longer, maybe even 80 out of the 82 minutes, I was really enjoying this. And there's a couple head-scratching moments, but overall it was very, very good. And those last 2 minutes, the way this ended was so all-time bad. This is the worst ending for a film that I've seen in years. Maybe, perhaps, I don't want to be a prisoner of the moment here, but perhaps it was one of the worst endings for a movie that I really liked that I've ever seen in my entire life. So with that being said, we're going to end on a sour note. This film for me gets a 6 out of 10. It was very well on its way to like an 8 to an 8.5 out of 10. It was really shooting up toward that 8.5 mark. But this ending just killed it to a 6 out of 10, and it really sours me on future viewings of this movie because it is so good for 9/10 of this movie. It is fun, it is unique, it is well paced, it is different tones up and down, it's pretty good characters. Everything is good until the last 2 minutes of this movie, and that just kills it for me. It takes it way down several points. So 6 out of 10 for this one. What did you guys think? Am I being too hard on the ending? What did you guys think of the film up until the ending? And am I correct? Did the ending really kill this for you guys the way it did for me? Please tell me in the comments down below. I would love to hear your thoughts on the cast and crew and the pacing in the movie itself. And until next time, guys, this has been The Drive-In for Mom and Dad. I will talk to you guys soon, so lock your doors, stay scared, and come back to Styles Clash for Life for the next review.